I'm Chanel, and today we are looking at my favorite decks of 2023. So I've selected 10, and I've only chosen from the decks that I got this year. I am not including any of the decks that I made because, you know, of course I love those decks, I made them. So I've just chosen decks that I've purchased from other creators. So they're not in order. It's just 10 decks I really vibed with, and without much further ado, let's get into it. Surprisingly, quite tarot heavy, and normally I'm much more of an oracle girly, but today was the tarot year. So this is the guided hand tarot. It comes with just this little itty bitty booklet and pretty much just 2 keywords for each thing, but that's fine, you know, tarot is tarot. It's all very same in terms of meanings. You just apply your own. These are the backs, which I think are really beautiful. I edged mine in a soft blue. It's on a very lovely satin cardstock, so nice quality. And this is a collage deck, and I saw this first on Annette's channel on Project Refined Life and knew immediately that I had to have it because it went really well with the Begin Oracle, and until that point I didn't have any tarot decks that really went well with it, and the Begin's one of my favorites. So that's the whole reason I purchased it. But not only is this deck really versatile in that it does go with a lot of decks. If I'm ever at a loss, I pair it with this and it goes beautifully. But I really like the energy of this deck. So this is really gentle. It's a very gentle deck. It's quite calming. This is the only card I have an issue with. Just the face, bro. Like, what? That's the only one. I might even have to stick another face on there. It just pulls me out. It just pulls me out of the card. So I might do something about that now that BB has brought to my attention that you can actually put stickers on cards. Who would have thought, hey, that you could put a sticker on a card? I did not. But yeah, I just really freaking love this deck. It's one that I'm always happy to work with. I'm never like, oh, I'm not in the mood for that one. I'm always happy to sling the cards, and it gives great readings for me. But it just brings everything down. It's like it lowers my heart rate. It's great for my nervous system, this deck. And so I appreciate that with someone who has a lot of trouble too with grounding and calming her body, to have a deck that does that just centers me and allows me to just be present and silences all of the noise in my head. That's just phenomenal. So yeah, I really do love this deck, and I think it will always continue to be a favorite just because, like I said, it really goes with so many other decks. So that's a key quality to have in a deck that will have longevity. So this was the Guided Hand Tarot, and this is an indie deck. Okay, so up next, we probably have my favorite tarot deck of this year, if I'm going to be honest with you. So these are the backs. Originally, when this is in order, there are beautiful stars twinkling in the gilding, and it's stunning. But when obviously it's not in order, it just looks like a gold edged deck, but it's beautiful when it's in order. This is on a luxurious matte cardstock, stunning. This is the Heartscape Tarot. I just realized I hadn't said even what it was called. This is a Heartscape Tarot. It's in landscape form, which doesn't even bother me for this one. It is absolutely beautiful. But there's only one card in here that I don't like. One. Every other card absolutely brings me immense joy. It's got a sense of magic in here. There's also just the mundane and the domestic, but the fantastic and the wonderful. So they're side by side in this deck. It's a bit harder to pair with things just because of the shape for me, but I don't care. It's definitely one that I'm happy to use on its own. It does come with a guidebook, but it's one of those PDF QR code, situations. So I almost never use it. I think I should just print it out and so I can have it in here, because I would like to see what they've written in case there's a bit of a different energy for that particular card. But otherwise, I just read this myself. And we have a lovely time together. It's just so darling and sweet. But like I said, it has the light and shadow aspects, but it's definitely not a doom and gloom deck. It's still very soft, not as nurturing, I'd say, as the Guided Hand. But it's like a shoulder to lean on, you know? So that's the way I feel about this deck. I love all the greenery in here, and there's so many cats, which is fantastic. But like I said, the pictures in this deck really are ones that I could definitely pathwork into. I just find them very evocative. Some are very simple, like this Eight of Cups, and then some are much more intricate and ornate. I know people love whales. There's lots of whales in here too. But they're meaningful. And yeah, I just don't have, oh, that's the one card I don't like. That's the only one. And you know what I mean? It's like, it's okay. It's fine. Every little card is like a little piece of art to me. And I don't care what card I get in this one. That's the thing. Like sometimes when you do a tarot pull, you're like, please don't let me get that card. But with this deck, any card, come what may, I don't care because I love the way they look except for the clown card. But every other card, I'm like, yes, I'll be happy. Whatever the message is, because I get to look upon such a beautiful image. I would say probably this is animal heavy too. But yeah, the Heartscape Tarot, an absolute favorite of mine. I believe they were on Kickstarter. This deck does go in and out of stock, but I just selected to be notified by Tavada when it was back in stock, and I got the email and quickly purchased it. So I think with a lot of their decks, they do come in and out of stock. So don't worry if it's currently not available. I'm sure it'll come back again. But yeah, the quality is fantastic. And I'm excited every time I use it. So absolutely adore this deck. And it is the Heartscape Tarot. Okay, let's bring out an oracle to break up all the tarots. This is actually one of my favorite bags. And I did do it in tulip stitch. And then Baby's like, I had a baby blanket in that stitch. And now I've got even more of a fondness for it. I wasn't sure if I was going to use it again, but I think I probably will in the future for another deck. This deck, I actually went and bought yarn for. So I did actually want to do that as a diamond. I keep trying to turn it into a square. And then I'm like, oh, I sewed it on as a diamond on purpose. I went and bought a blue and red yarn for. Like I broke my no yarn buy rule just so I could really match this deck. So this is a lost and found oracle, and this was a Kickstarter deck. So many cards. So this is separated into also directions. So I actually do like to read what direction it falls in because it also gives you a different lens on which to view the card. I also like to check to see it's not one of these ones. So some of them correlate with the major arcana, some with chakras, some with planets. So I like to check that out. But the way that it's done is you've got the black and white there. You've got a question, which is a fantastic question. And then the card divination meaning, illuminated, shadow, keywords, and then practical medicine, so an activity. And if you saw my Solace Oracle, it was loaded with associations and activities and practices because I love that stuff. Give me extra questions and things to do, make it an active, not so much a passive deck, and I'm going to go gaga over it. So I really love, for me, it is all about this guidebook for this particular deck. I love the backs, like, hello. Gorgeous. I edged mine in a red, but it got quite washed out, I guess, which is because of the cardstock. Speaking of which, it says art silk laminated. It feels like plastic. It's so bendy and flexible and it's smooth. It shuffles really, really well. So it feels like a laminated plastic deck, but supposedly it's not. With the cards, you actually have two. So this one says true time. There's also a card in here that says probably time true, like it's literally just reversed around. It is a collage deck, like quite modern. There is a sameness to the pictures, like they're not that dissimilar. As you can see, there's lots of hands, eyes, and flowers. If I had to pick three things that feature heavily in this deck, it's hands, eyes, and flowers. But I really love it. I couldn't put it down. I think it too because it has so many cards. It's extra fun because you just keep getting different things every time. And that's what I wanted to do. Okay, so that's good. Instead of true time, it was time truth. So that was the opposite one. So yeah, I just did not put it away all of the next month as well. I just kept wanting to use it. And that's an amazing sign that I am quite bonded to a deck. This was a deck that I was taking a big risk on in terms of the Kickstarter campaign. I was like, this is weird. I don't know, but I'm gonna go for it. And then as soon as I just played with it and did a reading, I was like, oh, you're staying with me forever and ever. And yeah, I absolutely love it. So this was the Lost and Found Oracle. Okay, so next we've got another deck, which this is probably the plainest button I have ever used, but it's the only one that kind of went with the vibe. So this is the Noisy Museum Tarot. I don't love the backs. I'm not a big text on backs girl. So I edged mine in a green to match the card color. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the backs. This is on Game Crafters linen cardstock, which is a bit odd. It does, as Thea says, smell like celery. I do get that. And it does have a bit of an obvious texture on it. You can't see it as much on these, but I know when I've had my other decks printed on them, you can sort of see the grid pattern of the linen. So it's not like the best linen, but the other cardstock didn't hold up for me. So I was like, I've got to choose a linen at least because it's sturdy, you know, and it can take a beating absolutely fine. So it's just a better quality than the other ones I have. But it does shuffle beautifully. So there is that. It shuffles beautifully. This deck, I just like it. So it's got the artsy vibes. I never know what era this is. I don't know if it's Renaissance, Victorian. I have no idea. Classical. I'm not an art person. No clue. But it's stunning. This does take me getting used to. My brain, I've got a lag. Okay, it's buffers. There's a buffering process where I'm like, okay, normal triangle pointing down is cups. Normal triangle up is fire, wands. You know, like it takes a second for me to correlate that I'm actually looking at the 9 of cups here. This is not one whose pictures give a lot to me, to be honest. So I just do go off my own associations with the tarot cards and also just the energy that I'm getting with this particular deck. So every deck has its own energy, as anybody that has cards knows. And you can sort of tell what aspect of, say, the Hermit this particular deck is trying to tell you, you know. And that's like, I don't do the reverse, but sometimes I'll be like, okay, it's telling me the reversed aspect of this card. So this does not have a guidebook at all. But like I said, I just use it myself. I find that it does go with a lot of decks. I've actually brought it out quite a few times. But yeah, I don't know. It's so weird. Normally, I don't like decks that have a lot of men in them in general. But this one I'm fine with. I don't know why. But like, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't bother me. But it's definitely one of the more moody decks. Like, it's got that tortured artist kind of vibe to it. You know, that's how it kind of feels to me. Medieval like quality, medieval times. But this is the most oddest card in the whole deck because it's got a very modern cat and puppy on it. So this is probably the only one that I feel like doesn't have the same vibe or energy as the other cards. Like anything that has like the real life doggies, it's like, what? It's a bit weird, but yeah, it's just the pets. Maybe that's her pets, and she wanted to put her pets in here. I don't know. I completely understand it in that way. It's like, yeah, my pets don't go, but I don't care because they're my babies. My babies are going in my deck. This is like the most confronting, though, 2 of Swords I have. I'm like, holy shit. That's just not normally how I view the 2 of Swords personally. That's heartbreaking, that death card. But yeah, so this was the Noisy Museum Tarot. Okay, so here we've got probably one of my favorite bags. I just love it. I just love it. And a little button, it's one of my faves. In here we've got the little ghost oracle. So this is this is an indie deck. This is bilingual. But in this, what I love the most is the place and temporality. So there's like a place and time, and it could be once upon a time, April, now, like it changes. And then the place, a vantage point, a crossroad, an altar in your garden. I just love it. I just love it. So I think the guidebook is fantastic. These are the backs, so they're so pretty with the holographic ghosties, and they've got this very sparkly, glittery silver edging, which is gorgeous. The cardstock, I know people don't like this one because it bows, so I'd probably say do not riffle shuffle. I don't do that anyway. But there's spot gloss on the ghosties and then down the bottom here as well. And this is just such, I don't know, it makes me happy. I guess it speaks to my inner child. This deck is definitely not, I wouldn't say it's soft at all. Like it's friendly, absolutely, but like it's a friend that can tell you the harsh truths. It's a friend that can be real with you, like real talk. So I love it for that as well. Like I got some absolutely phenomenal readings with this that blew me away. I was expecting just a fun novelty deck, and it was like, no, we got depth, babes. This is also very festive. It has all of the seasons depicted in it. So the big festivals like Christmas and Easter and St. Patrick's Day. Like, it's got all of the holiday vibe to it, so I love it for that. And it's just so darn adorable. I was so tempted to buy the Boo Tarot, but for some reason I just didn't. And then as soon as this came out, I'm like, yes, 100%, like, take my money. Just throwing my money at the screen. I was so fast. I don't know who I saw this deck on. I want to say it's Krista from Crochet Witch Tarot. I want to say, but I could be wrong, but I feel like it's them. I do write down now if someone has, show me a deck for the first time. So I do give them a nod, like, thank you. It was because of you that I now have this treasure, this gem. But yeah, it's just, my kids love this one as well. So it's accessible for a lot of people, I think. But like I said, the guidebook's fantastic and the reading's amazing. But it's just, it brings me joy. It's so merry and mischievous and full of life, full of youth, full of vigor. And this is the Little Ghosts Oracle. Okay, so in here we have thank you to my best friend Kate for giving me one of her yarns so I could get the color combo that I wanted. You're a real one. This is the Kitten Nugget Tarot. This was a Kickstarter deck and it was so bloody kitsch and cute. Let me tell you, it came in a nugget box. The creator just did a fantastic job at theming it. If you lived in America, you could also buy one of the kitten nuggets, a little plushie. Oh, I would have died to have one of those. I would have actually bought 3, one for me and both of my children. But they didn't, that wasn't an option. So I love that this is on grid paper. I don't know why, but I really like grid paper. You've probably seen it in a lot of my decks. No one else liked it. And my friend like, why are you doing grid paper? And I'm like, because I like it, man. It makes me happy. I love like the colors in here. It's really fun. This is one of the most fun decks. So it's a decent amount. You got upright and reversals, beautiful quality, stunning. These are the backs. So you've got hollow foiling on them. And then you've got the holographic edging, which is beautiful. I don't think it's picking up at the moment because it's very dark here. Beautiful, beautiful matte cardstock, like one of my favorite types of cardstock. This is a happy deck for me. This is one that brings me joy, makes me smile. I bloody love it. It doesn't go with a lot of decks, but I don't care. This is another one that I do most of the time tend to use on its own. There are certain tarot decks or oracle decks that I just prefer to use on their own. I don't actually like to pair up with others. But yeah, this is one of those. And I also kept it out for quite a while. My kids, they were fighting me for this one. Even though they've both got their own cat decks, they were trying to get their mitts on this. Like, please, mommy, please, you don't need it. Buy myself another one. I'm like, all right, love. We don't have that kind of opulence going on around here. But yeah, I had to tell them no. But my Indy ended up taking the box. She settled on the box. So she's got the box and she's put her own tarot cards in there that she made. She wants to make her own deck one day. And I'm like, yeah, darling, just let me know when you've got it ready and we'll get it printed for you. But yes, this is just so adorbs. This is just so adorable. And like I said, this is definitely one of those decks where it doesn't matter what card I get. You could give me the 3 of Swords and I'm like, sweet, bro. It's all good. Like, this is quite positive too, this deck. The way it's written, it's quite upbeat, and these kitten nuggets are just, you know what I mean? Like, they're just going to brush it off their shoulder. Like, ain't no biggie. It's also got quite a few extra cards in here, which I love when tarot decks just do that, when they add their own onto the end of it. I think it's fun and it's interesting. Like here, the Ranger. So yeah, I love the extra cards that are in here, but this was a fun deck. It's so well done, like 10 out of 10 for presentation on how it came. And this is the Kitten Nugget Tarot. We are going on to a way different vibe now following that. I don't think you could get more chalk and cheese. So this is the Primordialis Oracle, which was another Kickstarter deck. This has beautiful spot glossed embossing on it. It is a rose petal finish on the cover. It is a glossy full color papers. They've got everything. It goes in depth. This is an in-depth oracle. So Primordialis is basically the Great Mother. So from which we all came. It's got fantastic spreads that are themed, just chef's kiss. And then you've got the write-up. So you've got the picture, the title, the keyword, and all this with the reflection at the end. So sometimes I might pair it with a tarot. Generally, though, this is the kind of deck that I call a medicine deck. So these are the backs. This kind of reminds me of the ring. So I don't love, I don't love the backs. I kind of feel like a little Japanese lady's going to crawl through it. This is a rose petal finish. They're not edged. I did not want to color them. I just didn't feel like it needed that. It's the art is very interesting. It's a lot of dot art. There is embossing and spot gloss on the cards as well. The quality, chef's kiss, man. As you can see, they might have a sentence and a word. It varies for each one, but the topics it touches on, whoo, yeah, like buckle yourself in, you know? Buckle in. You really want to chew on the words that it says to you. You want it to digest it. You want to make it part of your DNA. Like I said, this is a medicine deck for me. It's got I guess, the primordial kind of energy to it, doesn't it? It's got the original mother energy infused within it, so that like it's that nurturing and the warrior. It's got that duality to it. So, you know, it's the bittersweet, the black and white. So, you know, they've kept it, as you can see, limited color palette. It's black and white, but with red. Red, you know, is generally a color that is associated with womanhood, with bleeding, with birth, with creation, life and death. And that's why it's so striking. But my God, this was, apologies for all of my hair that ends up making it onto my desk. Like, I have multiple conditions that cause me to lose my hair. So it falls over everything. I'm so sorry, guys. Most of the time I don't notice it anymore. I'm like blind to it. And then I'll watch my videos and be like, oh my God, Chanel, your hair is right there. So yeah, I'll try and be on that a bit. I'll blow my desk before every card. But yeah, this was, again, with the Kickstarter, I was like, I don't know, you know, because the benefit of walkthroughs is you get a sense of the deck so much better than what you can see on a campaign or on a website. When someone does a walkthrough, and especially if they read, that's why I like to read from the guidebook. I want to hear its tone, its messaging. And so when you go on Kickstarter, you're just like, I don't know, it's like rolling the dice. What's it going to be? And then this one blew me out of the water, man. I was like, wow, intense, but altering. You know, I always leave these readings. I'm actually going to do one today because it's a full moon. And yeah, I just feel like the need. I always leave them, you know, changed but enlightened, you know. It's full of such wisdom. So this is a primordialis oracle. Okay, so in this one, this is the only bag I ever did to make like a mat out of. Matte. This is the Dreams Within Dreams. So let me show you the guidebook first. It's really itty bitty. This could have been phenomenal because this deck, you can tell that they've drawn on either fables, fairy tales, myths, movies, anime in their illustrations, but you don't know who they've based it on. So as you can see, the mages have a bit more, but it's very sparse. It's very little, but you know, it's fine. Oh, gorgeous backs. So you had two options with this deck. You could either go for gold, which is what I went for, or silver. So they showed both. I prefer warm over cold. That's just how I am generally. And I went with the gold, but these are so beautiful. Like, this is gorgeous. And it's got that lovely matte gold edging. The cardstock is that thick satin, which, look, it's not my favorite, the thicker satin cardstock, but it doesn't clump at all. I found with a lot of, but it doesn't clump too bad. I find with a lot of satins, they just clump together. This one's not too bad. So, but it's a lovely cardstock. It's just not my preferred. I love it. So this is a multi-artist deck, but even though it's multi-artist, it still feels cohesive in a weird way. Like, it just feels like it's all under one umbrella. It's got a very fairy tale, magical, fantastical, like this is obviously Poseidon. You know what I mean? Like, this feels like Harry Potter. It's got a very magical feel to it. I am a big fantasy book reader, and all of these characters feel like they could have been in my fantasy books. So I absolutely love the storytelling, like, quality to this. Like, this is a gender bent Ursula for sure, for shizzle my nizzle. You can't tell me otherwise. Is that supposed to be Cthulhu? Probably. I love, you've got the fates here, and for me, I would depict them as the Morai because I am part Greek. So that's how I would picture them. But this card, I would say, has more shadowy cards than light and love. But it's not, I don't know, I don't feel perturbed by it at all. There are some other decks out there that I'm like, oh, I could not handle getting a card that looks like that in my reading. Like, no way. There is some AI in here. You can definitely tell like which ones are the AI, but it's only, you know, a few cards because generally I just don't vibe with AI. I don't know, like I feel like, I know that the person who made it still spent a lot of time doing it, but I don't know quite on what side of the fence I sit on with the copyright issue, like the theft of other art. And also just at the moment, the ones that I've seen, it just doesn't feel like handmade. Like I don't feel the human element in there, even though I know someone was behind the screen doing it. I don't know, it just, yeah, it's not the same. Even though I know that collage art is just taking art and putting it all together. I don't know, that feels different to me. But anyway, besides that, I just love it all. And this one, I wasn't sure when I first got it. I thought, is it too, I don't want to say kiddish, but I thought, there's not a lot of like cartoon-like decks that I enjoy, even though I've just shown you a whole bunch. I just realized today that most of my favorite decks of this year were the more childlike ones. But I wasn't sure when I first got it. I'm like, I don't know how I feel. It was giving me a little bit of 78 tarot vibes, and I've had just not a great time with them and their decks. But then I read with it, then I played with it, and it just grew on me more, like so rapidly. I've just fell in love. Like, I was like, okay, I am sorry for prejudging you and making my assumptions before getting to know you. I apologize. So this was one of those decks. Waves of Our Soul also saw this, loved it, and is in love with it. And I was like, oh, I get you now. Like, I can't believe I ever was hesitant in the beginning, like you can tell the AI ones. But I am obsessed with it. It is just so much fun. I think this is a great deck to use for other people too, because every card's different and every card's like unique. And I think a lot of people would like to see something that's not so RWS, same. Enough difference to make it feel novel, even though it does follow, you know, the RWS. Like, I'm sure that's Pele. But yeah, I just love it. Like, it gives me a little bit like Studio Ghibli vibes. I heard recently that you pronounce it Ghibli. I've said Ghibli my whole life, unless that person was wrong, but they supposedly contacted Studio Ghibli and they said it's a Ghibli. So I'm just going to go with that. But yeah, it's the water bender. I think they're going to do Avatar again. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I might be just talking out of my butt. But yeah, I love this. This is a dream within dreams tarot. Okay, so now we've got a very recent addition to my collection. This bag that I made for it. I'm just going to take this out. So it just comes with one piece of paper. This is the whole thing, but it's enough for me. It's got 3 different questions up the top, and basing on what you've done your reading on, you look at the particular meaning, and then it's just got a couple of keywords or a sentence. And I know I'll probably have to keep printing this out because it'll get very, very well worn, but worth it. This is the 21st Century Belline Oracle. So these are the backs. I'm frothing over. Like, this is gorgeous. This bag does not match this deck. It matches one particular card. I'll tell you about that in the wrap up for December, so I'll go into that in detail. But yeah, I edged mine in that kind of browny red. It didn't take very well. The edges are a bit rough, not smooth. The cardstock is that grippy satin, which I don't love because it's very hard to shuffle. This deck is very hard to shuffle. It is gigantic. I tend to just do like this kind of deal. You'll once again see that in the wrap up. I don't want to repeat myself, but I make it work because I love this deck. It's made it to my top 10, obviously. Just, it's a collage deck. I'm nuts for collage at the moment. Cuckoo for collage. And it's in French. So at the moment, I don't know all the words. Some like family or water, I do know. I'll obviously be learning some French words, nativity. I find that sometimes the key word doesn't like go with the meaning. Like nativity, for instance. So number 4, and it says capacity for wonder, trust in life, in openness and acceptance. And then it says conceive, imagine, bring forth, and fruitful path and concretization. So I don't have those associations with the words nativity, unless like nativity in French has different meaning than nativity in English. I'm guessing that's the gist, like different meaning. I don't know. But yeah, once again, when I got this, I couldn't put it down. I wanted just to do lots of readings with it. It goes well with the guided hand tarot. But this is one of those decks that I've been doing single card pulls for. So it's a lot of these decks that I have put in my top 10 are ones that I can use and tend to prefer to use on their own. I just want to soak them up. I want to give them my complete and utter attention. You know, I want to baby them, be like my precious. And this is one of those. The creator very kindly sent us all mini versions of the cards, like PDF files, so that we could put them in our tarot journals and things like that. But I'm thinking eventually, when the money is flowing, that I might print it into a small pocket version and I can carry it around with me. I think that would be amazing. And I would obviously print it on a different cardstock that has a better shuffling feeling, you know, but like, yeah, I probably would do that at some point in my life because I would get more use out of it. I know some people have altars, and I think obviously this would be stunning, like especially this card, like on an altar, but I don't do that. So it makes it a bit awkward. I thought my begin oracle was big, girl. Delphine, prove me wrong. She's like, hold my poodle. And then brought this deck into existence. So yeah, it's a bit kooky. It's a bit wacky. I don't love every single component of every card. Like some I'm like, no, a side eye. This is the one that I did the color matching to. But generally, I just like it. It's the vibe. You know, it's the energy of the deck. I'm picking up what it's putting down. So I don't know what the original 21st century Belline oracle is like, but I love this one. This one just, I think anything that reminds me of my yaya, who was someone that I was incredibly close with, naturally becomes very endeared to me. So let's go on to the final deck. Okay, so we have my final choice. I need to do more bags in shell stitch because it's bloody cute. It's super cute. Is the Magical Spirit Oracle. So I was already familiar with this artist's work. Actually, I'll just talk about this first. So this is a guidebook. It's in full color. It's on matte paper. You've got the image, the title, keywords, an affirmation spell about the card, and then you've got a manifestation enhancer. So I like all the extra bits. It's written in a very sort of new age spiritual kind of way, you know, where it's trying to give you a pep talk, but also not trying to coddle you, so to speak. It's like you need to empower yourself, girl. That's the vibe. So these are the backs, which they're okay. I don't love them for whatever reason, but they're fine. Like, you know, it's got the shiny gold gilding. It's on a lovely matte cardstock though, which is great for a mass market, you know, for a mass market deck. I think it's fine. So I had this creator's art pinned on my Pinterest page. And then one day I think I saw something saying that, oh, this is from their upcoming oracle, because I don't have Instagram and stuff, so I don't hear it through the grapevine that way. But I could not believe my ears. I was like, are you for real? Take my money. So I Googled, and the only place that it was coming up on for sale for pre-order was Amazon UK. And I was like, oh, what do I do? Do I wait to see if it comes to the others? So I was like, nope. I'm going to pre-order it from Amazon UK. Okay, so that's what I did. Obviously, and there was no pictures of the cards. I think it was just the cover and maybe two cards. So, you know, you couldn't see everything, but I already knew I liked her art, so I didn't care. Anyway, so I did that, and then it came up everywhere else. And then people started getting their decks, and I did not. And I saw it was on Amazon Australia, you know, and I don't love to use Amazon, but sometimes it's the only way I can get a deck. And so I just bought it from there. And I ended up getting both decks. So the UK one ended up coming 3 days after my Australian one. But I guess the moral of the story is like, wait a bit. It's okay. Like I was so scared that maybe no one else would list it and I wouldn't get it. But it's a mass market deck. And I'm like, God, Chanel, it's not an indie deck. Of course you could have gotten a copy. Next time, wait until it's local. Like just wait until it's local. See if anyone else is actually going to stock it, because sometimes local stores do stock mass market decks, not always, and they tend to do it so much cheaper, for instance, than Amazon anyway. So that's how I normally prefer to buy my mass market decks. I'll go to either bookstores or what do you call them? Like metaphysical shops, or even sometimes Big W, Kmart, Target, just whoever's got it, you know, within my neighborhood area, I go to them. So yeah, this one, I wanted it so bad. I was like, oh, pre-order on Amazon.co.uk. And and get absolutely screwed in the conversion rate. But yeah, I really like this deck, man. I love the artwork. I love the titles of the cards and the keywords. I love that they've also got a nice, beautiful saying on the face of the card. I know some people like, do we take the borders off? Do we not? I'm not going to attempt it. Obviously, because you can't really trim anything off the bottom and the top, and I just feel like it would make it uneven. So I'd like to see also someone else to do that first before I go butchering into mine. But for now, I'm not taking off the borders. It does mean it doesn't really go with almost any deck. I will say that it's very hard to pair visually with other decks. Energetically, different story. Visually, I struggled. But this is definitely one I can use on its own. Currently, I am using it with the Cozy Witch Tarot, and I'm loving that combo. There's definitely a very feminine energy to this deck. And yeah, I just like it. If there's an artist I like, it doesn't even matter if the deck itself isn't even usable. I'm going to get it because it's like I'm purchasing the art. But I have enjoyed my time with this one, absolutely. It does have, very, like I said, very self-empowerment vibes to it. And there's certain times when I'm like, I really need that. So I love this one. And yeah, so this was the Magical Spirit Oracle and my final choice for my top 10 decks of 2023. It's very hard to pick. There was just so many great ones this year. I rehomed very few compared to my first year, which was the previous year, because I've only been in this for 2 years. So yeah, this year, majority of the decks that I purchased, I kept because I love them. So hopefully next year is more of the same. I hope you guys have had an amazing year with your decks. Even if you didn't purchase any new ones, I'm sure you still have favorites that really shone, really helped you this year. So I also want to say a big thank you to everyone in the tarot community who chats to me and made me feel welcome and watches my channel. And I'm just very thankful for having this space in the world where we can all come together and geek out about the stuff we love and share our passions and hobbies. Until next time, stay wild, Star Child.